Now, to understand the impact that Balbo had in Montreal, I just have to put you in context with the times. Around 1900, Italian laborers in Montreal were just taken advantage of by everyone. And this put them into extreme situations. Newspapers described them as destitute, violent, capable of criminal behavior. Italian men, and more precisely, Southern Italian men, were stereotyped as cafoni, ignoranti, stiletto-carrying dagos, the scum of Europe. And these are not my words. They were at the bottom of the racial hierarchy and jobs, and that perception had to be corrected. The prominenti, who belonged to the middle and upper class, were usually those that acted as ethnic brokers between the Italians and the Canadians. They wanted to project Italy as il paese del Rinascimento, but the working class could not identify with these men. You can imagine how they felt when Balbo fever took over Montreal. Now, Italy was on the front page news everywhere, and it was pumping ethnic stock. Guido Nincari's son, George, was a teenager at the time. He had this to say: Eaton's had a display of Italo Balbo in the corner window of St. Catherine and University. It was a picture of the crew of the 24 planes. And all the girls were saying things like, oh, I like Captain so-and-so, he's nice looking, or he's handsome, no, I like this one better. They were making all kinds of comments. It was quite a display. Even that dad thought it was well done. There are two things we learned from George's story. First, we hear how Italianità went commercial. Eaton's dressed an important corner window with photographs of Italian men. This is 1933. The fleet was branding made in Italy in a very public way for the masses to consume. The second insight we get is the effect that Balbo had on people. When you think of that girlish excitement, it's almost like what was happening in schoolyards the day after the Beatles appeared on the Ed Sullivan show. But this was unusual. It was directed at Italian men. The event was the first mass marketing of Made in Italy, a land of modernity, engineering, ingenuity, and stylish, good-looking men. Balbo captured the essence of la bella figura, and that is the importance of making a good impression and being gracious, a cultural duty that's expected of all Italians. Balbo's image was not one of a clenched fist attached to an aggressive masculinity. When he arrived in Montreal, there's actually footage of him kissing men. Now you can imagine how unusual that was for Canadians to see. The stock market had just crashed, and so in the 1930s, there was a very conservative fashion climate. At that same time, Hollywood's leading men were putting glamour into pop culture. Balbo captured both looks and added an air of informality to it. Men would slick their hair back with pomade. Balbo did this, but he also curated this more casual feel to his hair. His young, spirited look was unique, refreshing, and made in Italy. But what made him stand out was that beard. Facial hair in the 1930s, beyond a mustache, was almost unacceptable. Balbo broke the rule. In fact, his style of beard is still referred to today as the Balbo. And if you go on YouTube, you can even learn how to shave your beard into a Balbo. That's how current he is, his look. I also want to draw your attention to a close-up of this man who was at the Mount Royal Hotel. He quite obviously took his fashion cue from Balbo. What I find incredibly striking about all this is that if I look at him, To me, he's a hipster by today's standards. Another thing that caught my attention was the language that was used to describe Balbo. George Ninckery had characterized him as very down-to-earth, a sharp-looking man with a beautiful smile and beard. A journalist wrote how Balbo was attired in a natty blue uniform. His black Van Dyke beard and flashing eyes distinguished him in the crowd. This is a male reporter that's describing Balbo in a way that you'd expect from a fashion journalist. Even his style became newsworthy. I think the reason why so many Italians from all social classes embraced Balbo was because he reflected something that was in them, who they really were inside, and who they aspired to be. Ha fatto una bella figura, and fundamentally that's what Italians want to project. For the prominenti, he was cultural collateral that helped them negotiate a better image in their society circles. And for the Italians abroad, they needed an Italo Balbo to challenge the misconceptions that existed. His mannerisms, his stance, his smile made him likable. He captured the imagination of Canadians. He exemplified the Italian man as intelligent, brave, modern, a family man, good-looking, and style-savvy. It gave Italians in Montreal a moment to cheer their ethnicity in public. Thank you.